Hi everyone, this is me again, Teacher Vicky, and welcome to our English class. Are you ready to listen? Let's go! Our lesson for today is all about the perfect tense of the verb. We are on week 2, quarter 4 in English 6. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to first identify the perfect tenses of verbs. Number 2, give the correct form of the verb in perfect tenses. And 3, compose clear and coherent sentences using verbs in the perfect tense. So what is perfect verb tense? Perfect verb tense is used to show an action that is complete and finished or perfected. It is sometimes called the complete tense. This tense is expressed by adding one of the auxiliary verbs have, has, or had to the past participle form of the main verb. While simple verb tense describes when an action was performed, is performed, or will be performed, perfect verb tense expresses when an action was completed, is completed, or will be completed. Simple verb tense expresses the possibility of an action happening, while perfect verb tense expresses with absolute certainty that the action will be completed. So here are the perfect tenses of verb: the present perfect tense, past perfect tense, and future perfect tense. Let's start with the present perfect tense. It is formed by using auxiliary verbs such as has or have, and then the past participle form of verb. It has the following functions. Letter A, an action occurring at an indefinite time in the past. For example, I have seen you before. Okay, so we use the time signal here, which is before. And then our verb is have, because we take have if we are using you and I. And then, what is the past participle form of the word see? That is seen. Okay, so that is why this is have seen. How about letter B? An action or situation that started in the past and continues in the present. For example, I have lived in Cavite since 1984, meaning I still do. Okay, so the clue word here, or the time signal, is since. Okay, since and then the date. Okay, so again we use have because of I. The subject is I. Again, we take have for you and I. And then the past participle of the word live is lived with D. Letter C, recent past actions completed just at the time of speaking. For example, I have just finished my work. Okay, so our verb here is have, and because our subject is I. Okay, so we take have for I. And our past participle here is finish, from the base form of the verb finish. Okay, so we just add ed to the word finish. Okay, so letter E, an action repeated several times in the past. They have seen that film 6 times. Our time signal here is 6 times, and our subject is they. That's why we take have. And then the past participle of see is seen. Okay, so let's move on to letter E, an action performed during a period that has not yet finished. Example, she has been to the cinema twice this week. Twice this week is our time signal. Okay, so it means, and the week isn't over yet. Okay, so our subject is she. That's why we take has. And been is the past participle for our, yes, for our be verb. So remember, for the present perfect tense, remember that we need to, that our verb should agree with our subject. Okay, it's either has or have, and then of course with our past participle, usually it is with ed or it just ends with n. The expressions since and for are often taken as time markers, or what we call the time signal, for the present perfect tense. Other expressions such as already, just, yet, lately, before, several times, this week, today are also used to state the present perfect tense. Okay, so now let's go to the second type of perfect tense, which is the past perfect tense. It shows the relationship of two events which occurred in the past. It expresses or an action completed, happened earlier, which is the past perfect tense, before another past action or state of being happened, which is the simple past. It is used to make it clear that one event happened before another in the past. The past perfect tense is formed by using had plus past participle of the verb. The conjunctions when, before, and after are used to connect these two past actions. For example, Dad had gone out when Mom arrived home. Our past perfect tense is gone. And of course, we had to use the word had because this is in the past tense or the past perfect tense. And of course, our simple past is the word arrived. That is also our clue word. Okay, so it also states that it is already in the past. That's why we can say that, oh, that is in the past perfect tense. And of course, don't forget the word when. And of course, for gone, that is the past participle of the word go. Okay, so as we go back to the example, the action of Dad going happened first before Mom's action of arriving. The past perfect tense shows which of the two actions was completed first. As for the third type, this is the future perfect tense. It is actions that either will be completed at some point in the future or will continue into the future. This tense is used when projecting forward into the future and looking back at an action that will be completed sometime later rather than now. Future perfect tense, most often used with the time expressions such as by the time, by this time next week, by June 15, by 5 p.m., and the conjunction when. Okay, so usually it always states the time that will be happening or shall be happening in the future. Now we form the future perfect tense by using will or shall and then have. Okay, it's not has, it is not had, but have. For example, will have or shall have. And then, of course, the past participle form of the verb. For example, you will have finished your report by this time next week. Okay, so again, because of the time signal, by this time next week, which is in the future, we will use will have. Okay, and of course, the past participle of finish is finish with the ed. Here in the future perfect tense, you don't need to look at the subject. Okay, you don't need to look at the subject and tell whether your subject will agree with your verb. No, only need to tell if the sentence take the future tense, and then we will use will have or shall have, and then look at the base form of the verb and use the past participle form. Okay? For you to be able to create your own sentences using the perfect tense of verbs, you need to identify first and know what are the past participle form of the verb. Okay, so here we have some list here. Okay, so we have the first column is the base form of the verb, and then the second column is the past participle form of the verb. Okay, so let us read. Go, gone. Watch, watched. Fly, flown. Sing, sung. Walk, walked. Eat, eaten. Okay, so as you have noticed, some of the base form of the verb, we just add ed or d, but most of them, okay, change their spelling, okay, and some have the n at the end, okay, but for example, for sing and sung, so we just change the vowel, which is the I, it became U. So here's another set of the base form of the verb and then its past participle. Let's read. Master, mastered. Tear, torn. Take, taken. Blow, blown. Speak, spoken. Feel, felt. Okay, so it's activity time. So let's complete the sentences by writing the correct form of the verb in the parentheses, and then according to present tense, underline the time signals, conjunctions used, and other verbs to know which perfect tense to use. Okay, so meaning you are going to identify first the clue words. Okay, because you cannot or you will not be able to identify the tense of the verb or tense of the perfect tense, okay, we do not know the time signals. Okay, so I think you are ready. So if you need more time, you can pause the video again and get your notebook and your ballpen. Okay, so here are the sentences that we need to analyze and to identify what verb are we going to use for these perfect tenses. Okay, so let's start with number 1. Michael master this lesson by next week. What do you think is the answer? Okay, so you can write it in your notebook or your paper for your answers. Okay, so you need to identify first which is the time signal. Okay, so the clue words that you need to know so that you will know what kind of tenses is this. Okay, so our clue word should be by next week. Okay, so it means this is in the future, that's why it is the future perfect tense, and our verb should be will have mastered. Okay, so let's read again. Michael will have mastered this lesson by next week. Okay, number 2. The boys tear their uniforms today. Okay, so our clue word is, or the time signal is today. That's right, this is in the present perfect tense. And let's look at the subject, the boys. So we need to use have. So have torn. So let's read. The boys have torn their uniforms today. Okay, so number 3. My nephews go to Canada for 3 years now. So let's look at the sentence again for number 3. Our clue word, yes, I hope we had the same answer. For 3 years now, that is the time signal. So that is present perfect tense. Okay, so our subject, my nephews, plural. That's why we use have, and our past participle is gone. Okay, so my nephews have gone to Canada for 3 years now. Number 4, after the pupils take their exams, the teacher asks them to leave. Okay, so number 4, do we have the time signal? Okay, so actually our time signal here is ask. Okay, so the word ask, which is in the past tense, okay, so because it has ed, so it means this is in the past tense. Okay, so past perfect tense. So let's look at the subject, the pupils. That's why we use had, because it's already in the past. Had taken. After the pupils had taken their exams, the teacher asked them to leave. And number 5, a strong wind blew when the leaves fell off. Okay, so let's read again the sentence. A strong wind blew or blow when the leaves fell off the tree. Okay, so let's look at the sentence. Okay, so I think we have the past tense, which is fell. Okay, that's why it is already in the past. Okay, so and let's look at our subject, a strong wind. Okay, so we don't need to look at the subject because we need to use had. Okay, so that is had blown. The strong wind had blown when the leaves fell off the tree. Congratulations for making it this far. Very good. Now you did a great job. Okay, so I hope you got it all correctly, and even though you did not, okay, so I hope you will review it, and I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you again, and God bless. Bye.